Yeah, what's up, everybody? Once again, it is time for another edition of the In the Dungeon program. I am Frank Red. How y'all doing out there? And we are joined by my man Brian Iglesias. He blew up so much in his first his first appearance on In the Dungeon show that we said, "Hey, man, come do it again." You know, just like the Warriors, 2 in a row, right? The Warriors. I wouldn't call it their best effort in terms of basketball, but it was gritty, and it was the type of win that the Warriors will have throughout the season to get to where they want to be. So, Brian, how you doing, brother? And thank you for stepping in the dungeon. I appreciate it.
I'm doing fantastic. Hey, it was a clutch win, right? It was, what are they, 11 and 11 in clutch wins or clutch games now? I mean, if you want to say anything about this Warriors team, at least they're exciting. I mean, they come thrilling finishes down the stretch. I mean, at least they give us something good to watch. I mean, yeah, absolutely.
And again, all of the wins count for one win, and all the losses count for one loss. So you can lose these games. I mean, these are the types of games that the Portland Trailblazers have lost consistently this year. And you know, I mean, we all love Chauncey. Hall of Famer, if he's not in already, future Hall of Famer, world champion, good guy. But they're going to start looking at him because I think if they had come out and played with the same effort and commitment and detail that they played with in the second half, the Warriors might have been in trouble tonight.
I think they definitely could have lost that tonight, excuse me. And they honestly, if there wasn't for a Brandon Pajemski charge at the end, they probably should have lost it tonight. I mean, they didn't play their best basketball, but hey, they found a way to win like they always have done these past couple of years, and tonight's no different. Really, it's not. And you know what? Shout out Andrew Wiggins. All that talk about, Andrew Wiggins going to the bench, it's going to affect him and stuff. He came to play tonight.
No, we're going to talk about Andrew Wiggins as the show evolves. But yeah, right off the top, big him up. Klay Thompson continues to play well. And Brandon Pajemski, I'm going to make this statement. Smart players do not get offensive charges. So Brandon Pajemski comes into the game, and his approach is so high level that he makes winning plays, and he makes players that might have more talent look stupid. I mean, what does he have now? 8, 9 charges? It's unbelievable. But he's simply playing. Go ahead.
No, my bad. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I got to stop interrupting you like that.
No, you don't.
I think he has a charge in almost every game he's played so far.
I don't know how many he has, but he has to lead the league. I mean, I know that. And he's exactly what the Warriors need. They need players to make winning plays. And there were quite a few players that fit into that category, and we're going to talk about that as we evolve. But we want to start the show talking about the San Francisco 49ers workmanlike win against the Arizona Cardinals, 45-29. And again, it wasn't like their most spectacular game, but it is what we expect them to do. Just go out and dominate the opposition. Brock Purdy gave a performance that we expect him to give, even though he went to his hometown. You know how that can be sometimes, you know, when you go and you got your family and your friends there. But he was sharp, 4 touchdowns. And I think it's interesting that the 49ers played the Baltimore Ravens on Christmas night in their next game, because they appear to be the top 2 teams in the NFL right now.
What? Both at 11-3, right? I think they're both at 11-3. Yeah. That's gonna be. You know what? It's gonna be a game of 2 things. It's gonna be a game for the best team in the NFL, and it's probably gonna be a game to decide the MVP, because Lamar Jackson and Brock Purdy are playing at an outstanding level right now. And honestly, I tweeted this out earlier. If you don't follow me on Twitter at @B_Iglesia. Brock Purdy is the leader for the MVP right now, and it's not even close. Like, he's making plays that I haven't even seen in my lifetime as a quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers.
It's close.
I don't. That's.
I mean, you know what I mean. I mean, it's either no. We can. I'm joking. I'm kind of half joking because, I mean, he's definitely one of the favorites. But you know, there's still some football left. And you look at Lamar Jackson, what he has done for the Ravens. I mean, they're 11-3, and when you look at what they ask him to do, I don't think that he's had a better season, and he's already been the MVP. So, Brock Purdy is. I mean, if people never reference where he got drafted again, my life would be a lot better. All right? Because it does not matter. It doesn't matter at all.
No, you're right. It doesn't. But you know what? Those people are always going to reference the draftism. Oh, he was Mr. Irrelevant. He was the last pick of the draft. Kurt Warner wasn't even drafted. I mean, come on. Let's stop. Let's stop doing this draftism and let's just focus on the play at hand. He is making plays right now at an elite level. He really is. He's a top 5 quarterback right now in the NFL. He is.
Know why it's insulting to me? Because he's not being paid like an elite quarterback. And everybody runs around with pom-poms. Oh, well, yeah, you know, he's on a rookie salary. No, he's not. I mean, he's almost like on a welfare rookie salary, comparatively speaking. He's the most I mean, he literally is the most productive NFL quarterback in the game right now, and he is the least highest paid quarterback starter in the NFL right now.
Hey, you have to give all the props to Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch and the 49ers just to drafting him and to having – this is a secret weapon for them. It really is. You're not only getting elite quarterback status, but you're paying him $800,000 to do so. So that just opens up your window. That's why, in my opinion, the 49ers are just, I don't want to say light years ahead, like a Joey Light Years term, but they're almost at that level of, hey, we got something with this kid with only paying him $800,000. Like, it's crazy. That's one of the biggest storylines in the NFL right now, in my opinion. I mean, you're paying this kid $800,000, and he's performing like this.
Here's what's interesting, though, to me about watching this team play also. I'm a 49er supporter, strong supporter, which means I want to see them win and be successful. But I'm not a 49er diehard fan. You know, I grew up in New York, and I tend to root for a lot of players, right? Many of them on the 49ers that I like. Like, how can you not like Warner? I mean, this dude is like, you know, like Ronnie Lott 2.0, George Kittle. I mean, Debo,
Christian McCaffrey.
How can you not root for these guys? But are we at the point now when we can look at this team and look at the coaches and say, if they don't win a Super Bowl, the season is a failure? Or is it a disappointment? Can't be a failure, but is it a disappointment?
It's a disappointment. It's a disappointment because right now it seems like they have all the weapons around them. They have the great running back, what they wanted, which Kyle Shanahan has been clamoring for. No more Joe Williams, no more Ty Davis Prices. You have the best running back in the game. Mm-hmm. You have arguably the best wide receiver tandem in Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel. I don't know what other wide receiver. I mean, I guess you could say Miami is playing better, but right now I just
not better, just as good. Not better. I would say just as good. Yeah.
Some people on the East Coast,
you know, I just think that, like, you know, like I mean, I watch football and I watch the 49ers and I can sit back and just go, wow, and really appreciate what they do. But I was thinking about the team and thinking about some of the wacky fans. You know, not the intelligent fans who study, but the wacky fans who are like, it's a foregone conclusion for this team to win a Super Bowl. And I guess all things considered, yes. But everybody, including you and I, had a sigh of relief when we saw Brock Purdy go down. And we were like, oh, shit. You know? I mean, and that's football reality right there. You know? So there's a lot of football left. There's a lot of things that need to happen for this team to reach their destiny. But when you look at how they are put together, this is one of the best 49er teams in terms of personnel that I've seen. And I mean, I've seen a lot of them. I can't think of many other teams that were more talented than these guys. I mean, in the history of the 49ers, Who has been a better offensive lineman than Trent Williams? Nobody's been better. Maybe just as good.
No,
but nobody's been better.
We're talking like elite of the league guys. We're talking like we have to go back to the '84 team to even have something like as crazy as we're seeing right now. Like the production level and the point scoring of that '84 team.
Right.
Seems like this team just is equal or just blows them out the water. I don't want to say they blow them out the water because we can't. I hate comparing errors, but it just seems as good. It really does. And I want to go back to that one play.
Yeah,
I want to go back to one play. So we had the same moment, like oh snap, like he's out, he might be. I thought it was a concussion. I was like, okay, but wasn't there a little part of you was like, I want to see what Sam Darnold looks like with this offense. Not to say I don't ever want to see what Brock Purdy looks like off the field. Like I want to see Brock Purdy be able to complete a full season. But there was a little part of me back in my head. I was like, okay, let's see what Sam has. And he actually looked pretty decent for 2 drop passes. George Kittle dropped 2 passes. I'm thinking, all right, okay. Then Brock Purdy
I was comfortable experiencing that scenario when the 49ers are up 45-0 on somebody and he's not playing the fourth quarter. Then throw him out there. All right. But anytime there's like head injuries or knees or stuff like that, that gives me pause, especially 14 games into the season and how fresh it is in all of our minds of Brock Purdy getting hurt in the playoffs. And he's small and he is fragile. And we can count the times on one hand when he has really been pressured. He hasn't really been pressured. That's why the game against the Ravens on Christmas night is interesting, because we want to see how he negotiates a ferocious pass rush and probably among the best collective of linebackers in the NFL with the Ravens. So they're going to take Kittle away. And it's going to be tough for the 49ers to run against the Ravens. So he's going to have to push the ball down the field without the security blanket of a Kittle or a CMC running over the opposition. They're going to have a tough time running the ball against the Ravens on Christmas night, I think. Let me acknowledge Mark Graves, as always, in the dungeon. We appreciate you, brother. Hello, Frank and Brian. Hello, Mark. How are you doing, brother?
How we doing, Mark?
Yeah.
I think we see the same exact game plan that we saw in Philadelphia. They try to run the ball early, and they kind of get stuffed a little bit, but they go to the quick hitters. And I think they do the same exact thing in Philadelphia that they do to Baltimore. I really do. I mean, I don't see them. Okay, you say take away George Kittle. You still have to deal with Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk. You still have to deal with Chris McCaffrey in the backfield going out the slot. But it's like they have so many weapons.
Let's say this,
weapons.
Though.
I don't know how you stop this.
Let's say this, though. I mean, let's have this conversation. When I watch basketball, and I see most of the time it's the opposition. I'm switching sports for a second. Getting offensive fouls off of picks. The word that comes in my mind, and I don't like this word, it's dumb. It's like, you should not be getting offensive charges at the rate that you do. When's the last time you've seen Steph Curry get an offensive foul? It happens maybe, 2 or 3 times a year? Maybe.
Yeah.
So,
did you get one tonight?
I don't know.
Not sure.
I don't remember. But my point is this. When I watch football, I have the same mindset. It's almost like Arizona didn't go through film study all week. Remember early on when Brock Purdy fakes the ball to the right, the offensive line moves to the right, he turns his back on the defense, and who was wide open? Was that Deebo?
No, Chris McCaffrey. No, it was Deebo.
It was Deebo. Right in the end zone. When the linebacker is looking in the backfield, and all of a sudden Deebo or whomever it was goes behind him. That's just bad film study.
We're talking in the red zone, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous. So
I think Brock also had another play where he turned to his left. He was getting chased by a defensive tackle, and he saw Chris McCaffrey one-on-one,
he
fell down.
I saw that. He ran for a touchdown. I'm talking about the one when the guy just kind of walked his child in the park. He, put his daughter or his son on the sideline to make sure they were okay, and then said, "Oh, I'm out to touch the touchdown." Yeah.
Started doing his taxes at the same time.
I mean, where's the film study there? Unless you're telling me that that's the play that Kyle Shanahan brought out that he has not used the entire season, which is possible, but not likely.
I think it's more possible than you think.
Well, he's brilliant. Mark says, small sample of Sam Darnold. That's all I want.
Nobody wants to see that, Mark. I know.
Went to the football. Oh, you went to the game today? Oh, okay. Yeah, he's in Arizona, so he went to the game. That's cool. Brian looking fly this week. Oh, yeah, he is looking. Yeah, he kind of.
A lot more light. Christmas.
A little more light.
For Christmas.
Better lighting. It's all good. The DB had his back to the quarterback on that play. Never saw. Yeah, and that's just film study. Again, unless like you said, it's the first time that he pulled that one out this year. The basketball comp to Kyle Shanahan is Brad Stevens, the general manager of the Boston Celtics. Brad Stevens. I think Brad Stevens has a photographic memory. I honestly believe that, and I'm watching him since he was at Butler, going back to Butler. When it comes to designing plays, I mean, in the most opportune time, he has a mind that is pretty unique, and Kyle Shanahan does as well, because Shanahan has all of these plays, and he brings them out at the most opportune time. So I'll give the defensive player some slack. But he clearly got fooled. That should not have happened. And that is so debilitating as a defense when a team gets a touchdown like that, in which they earned it, but they really didn't earn it. You know what I'm saying? So, go ahead.
One thing I love about Kyle Shanahan is, he's so stubborn, and it's a good thing because he would run like 1 or 2, 3 plays in a row, and they wouldn't go for like 2 or 3 yards just to set up the play action pass and just to set up the explosive play. He really would. And
he does.
He's a mastermind like that. He really is.
Yeah, he is. And it just makes the game so easy for his team. I mean, he's a great player, but when he's dialing it up like that, it certainly gives him a level of confidence that I'm sure a lot of other teams don't have. Mark Graves, since you are in Arizona, I'm listening to the commentary about Kyler Murray, and they were talking about how the coaching staff and everybody's on board with Kyler Murray. What's the pulse? From your perspective, do you think the fans are on board with Kyler Murray, or are they about him? I want to know that, because I think physically he has the ability to be an all-star caliber player. I don't like his body language. I've never been in love with his body language. And I think that, man, it's important. Stephen Curry tonight had his 268 game 3 points game record and tonight. Looking at him physically, you would not have known it by his expressions. He jacked a couple of shots, if you watch the game, that he probably wouldn't take, and then he rallied himself and was like, you know what? This ain't that damn important. So, particularly in football, where you got 53 guys, that literally waiting for you to lead them in the right direction, your body language has to be right. So,
no, you're exactly right. Body language is everything, Frank. It really is. And you know what? You can really tell if somebody's going to have a great night or not from their body language, probably. You really can. It's like if somebody's slumping their shoulders, like the guy I used to think who had horrible body language, Brandon Bell. Horrible. Mm-hmm. Every time he would strike out, slump his shoulders, put his head back, like, I'm doing this again. It's like, dude, you're a professional athlete. Have the mental fortitude to say, I'm going to come back next time. If I even struck out, I'm going to come back next time and try to be better.
He kind of overcame that, though. You know, to his credit, he got better as he got older. And I think it actually bought him maybe like 2 or 3 years with the Giants. And even surprisingly, he had a pretty darn good year as a Blue Jay last year.
Yeah, it was a down year for him, I would say. He wasn't like a 30 home run guy last year, but going back to Kyler Murray, it was, he's never been a 30 home run guy, though.
He's not going to do that.
He
was solid.
Looking at Kyler Murray's stat line, he threw 39 times today.
Right.
They ran the ball for, I want to say, 5.1 yards per carry against the Niners defense. If they would have just kept running, they were down. I know you got to play catch up, you got to throw the ball, but they had a plan of success, and if they would have just kept running the ball, they might have been closer.
Every time I see John Connor run, I see an egg frying on Mike Tomlin's head, saying we gave up on this guy. They not only gave up on him, but they went out and signed a running back in the first round who's a tough NFL player, but he's not. They could have got Najee. His production in the 4th or 5th round. Good player, good blocker, but not a first round talent. And John Connor is balling, man. So interesting. Let's get Vicky in here. Vicky says, "Hi, Frank. The 49ers played like a well-oiled machine on offense. The defense was okay. I'm glad the Warriors won. Poor Steph looked tired tonight after leaving it all on the floor last night." Your commentary is spot on, Vicky. And I also want to promote this. Myself and the great Vicky Boone, we're going to do a show together on December 26th. Time, topics yet to be determined, but why not promote it now? So I'm looking forward to that. Thank you, Vicky. I appreciate you. And she also says, what happened to Dak today? You know what? The Dallas Cowboys were primed for a loss to Buffalo because Buffalo really needs to win. And if you look at Buffalo, they are a playoff team. What's disappointing about the Dallas Cowboys was you wouldn't expect a Super Bowl caliber team to get smacked like they did. Pretty tough to watch.
Also, weather played major factor in that game. You see, it was pouring on the East Coast. It was pouring in Carolina. Yeah. It was pouring in Buffalo. Like, come on, you can't expect a dome team to play in those conditions and do well. You just can't. You really just can't. But in my opinion, it was a scheduled loss. It really was. Because that defense is still good.
No, the defense is still good. But, like, every time the Dallas Cowboys have struggled this year, it's because they couldn't run the ball up the middle. Look at the New England Patriots. Even watching Zeke Elliott kind of labor along, Zeke is having a pretty good year. I mean, there hasn't been any drop-off from what Zeke did last year to this year. He's blocking, he's getting short yardage, and I'm thinking to myself, they never replaced Zeke Elliott. And he's the type of guy that they need. They really do.
They thought Tony Pollard was going to be better than him. And honestly, Tony Pollard has been a disappointment this year. Flat out. He has. He's been a disappointment. Because if he would have been better, they would have had better production. They probably would have won 2 or 3 more games.
He is what he is. He's a scat back. That's what he is. He's a really good scat back who tries to run in between the tackles, who, if he gets daylight, but no, he's not effective. He's not. And that's on them. That's on the Dallas Cowboys. And, I don't like to see players like Zeke walk out the door. Negotiate a better contract. I'm not saying he should be making X amount of dollars. I know they're paying Pollard $10 million, but to see Zeke walk out the door and have a very respectable year on a horrible team and then not replace him, I'm not a Dallas Cowboy fan. I like Dak. But if I'm a Cowboy fan, I'm upset because think about this, Brian. What is there? 4 or 5, 6 max teams that can win the Super Bowl this year?
You want to play that game? Okay. Niners. I do think the Eagles can still win it. even though they're injuries. I think the Cowboys can win it. Yep. I think the Ravens can win it.
Right.
I want to see Miami win fully healthy, play a good team, and actually, not a team that is not diminished on doesn't have
can win it though. They can win. Yeah.
I think they can win it, but I would put them probably last, and I still want to put Kansas City up there just because of Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
just because of Travis Kelce.
I would stretch it to 7. Then I would say even Buffalo. I think if Buffalo got on one, I think
Josh Allen turns the ball over way too much.
Yeah,
I really do.
Yeah, they're probably not going to win, but I think that they could get on one and actually win some games in the playoffs. The thing about the NFL is we've seen teams creep into the playoffs and get on a run and go all the way and win the Super Bowl. So, maybe 7 teams.
What, your New York Giants of 2007, right? Were you a fan of that? Those Eli Manning teams?
Absolutely.
They went on a run, right?
Absolutely.
They went on a run.
I love it.
O.T. Minura, Michael Strahan, right?
Oh, yeah.
They beat the 18-1 Patriots.
Oh, yeah. That defensive line was ferocious. It really was. And, and they had, the football gods on their side. So they won. So, it's going to be interesting tomorrow night to see what happens with the
Philadelphia.
Eagles. Yeah, to see if they can come back and play a solid game. Jalen Hurts is, quote, sick. If he can play, he's going to go, I think.
He's going to play. They're not going to let Mariota quarterback that team with a game like Seattle on the line with everything, with the 1 seed at stake. No way.
Yeah, I don't think so. You're right. Vicky says, I see 2 that can win. Those 2 will play on Christmas in Santa Clara.
That's a good point, Vicky. That's a good
The Ravens play on the road? I thought the game was in Baltimore. It's not?
No, it was in Santa Clara.
That game is here.
Night.
Really?
Yep. And I'm looking at the stats right now.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Baltimore is 6-1 away on the road. 49ers are 5-1 at home. It's the point differential leading the league. Oh, never mind. Yeah, leading the league. 191 49ers, 159 Ravens.
Okay.
2 teams on multiple 4-game winning streaks. Baltimore's on a 4-game winning streak right now. San Francisco's on a 6-game winning streak. It's going to be a battle of titans. It might be, dare I say, a Super Bowl rematch.
Here's the thing why I think that the 49ers are a little different now than they were even at the beginning of the year. On the back end, I think you could argue the 49ers had good players. I think Ward has turned into a star. And, he's turned into one of those guys that you got to have. And I don't think the 49ers had that type of player before, but that's the level of football that he's playing. So, their linebacking core is as good as anybody in the NFL. Their defensive line is as rich and as plentiful as any team in the NFL. And now you got Ward back there, acting like he's Diggs or somebody. They're tough. They really are.
And don't look now, Frank. Don't look now. But all this talk about Nick Bosa not living up to the contract, he's got multiple 10-plus sack seasons in a row now. He just hit 10 sacks today. Hey, and you talk about the secondary. Don't sleep on Diamado Lenore and that injury. That might be a major, major problem if he can't go, because he's been playing lights out. And Ambry Thomas.
Well, they signed the kid Everett, right? They got him back.
Everett?
Yeah. And they trust him. They trust him, and he's going to get some time down the road. So I just think they needed a starter. I just think they needed a star, and I think Ward is playing at an all-pro caliber level at this point, and that kind of makes the 49ers different to me. So,
and I also like that kid Jahlil Brown on the back end.
Oh yeah, from Penn State.
Oh my God.
No.
Oh my God.
He's a future all-pro. I watched him a lot at Penn State. He's big time.
He's a ball hawk. I definitely give him that.
No question. Mark Graves said the Cowboys haven't beaten a team over 500. Yeah, Mark, it's interesting because sometimes I give teams a break when I hear those comments because you can only play your schedule, right? You can only play your schedule. And most of the time, the good teams are actually playing up to their standard. So it's really about the Dallas Cowboys playing up to their standard. It's not their fault that their division sucks, beyond the Cowboys and the Eagles. But
hey, don't sleep on Danny DeVito now. Don't sleep on DeVito. Come on. Come on.
Yeah, okay.
Come on. He's living his childhood dream. Come on now.
Isn't he? The media is powerful.
Yeah,
Aren't they powerful? Oh, my God. I mean, unbelievable. I'm happy for the kid. I'm happy for him.
No, me too.
He'll be able to buy his own house and get some pizza commercials and stuff. But let's slow down. Can we slow it down?
He's still living in his mom's house. He's still going to live in his mom's house. Come on. That's a life. It's a life we all want to live.
What's up, everybody? I am Frank Red. This is the In the Dungeon program. I am joined by my man, Brian Iglesias. You see where you can hit him up at X. You can hit me up at Big Frank Red if you don't already follow me. And we're breaking down the 49ers win over the Arizona Cardinals, 45-29. It was kind of pedestrian-like. Brock Purdy going back to his neck of the woods in the state of Arizona and living up to the hype. 4 touchdowns. He threw for 248. And just a total team effort. Christian McCaffrey once again showed that he is the best running back in the NFL.
Yeah.
What's interesting?
Go ahead. He's got 7 touchdowns against the Cardinals this year, Frank. 7.
Yeah. You think he's better than Saquon Barkley? Sometimes I want to put Saquon in the 49ers uniform. You think so?
I'm sorry. I think he's an all-around better.
I think Saquon would ball out as a Giant, as a 49er.
I'm not saying he won't. Saquon is he's a top 5 running back.
He's elite. Yeah, he's elite.
Christian McCaffrey is this could be homerism. This could be I see him every Sunday,
right.
But this guy does stuff on the football field that I see no other running back do. Derrick Henry doesn't do it. Alvin Kamara doesn't do it. Even Saquon Barkley doesn't do what he does. This guy's the best running back in the league, Frank. He really is. No other running back is in the MVP conversation, right?
Well, you know what? We could build an argument, right? That the Moser, the former 49er in Miami, who has 20 touchdowns. I'm joking, but
no.
I'm joking, but what a year! The guy, the guy had 20 touchdowns in 8 years as a professional. And he has 20 this year, I believe.
Hey, shout out Mike McDaniel, man. I didn't think he would take Miami to these heights, but he's truly doing something special in Miami. Like, how cool would it be to see a Baltimore Miami just like playoff matchup, or a Kansas City Miami playoff matchup, and maybe even a Super Bowl matchup between the Niners and Miami? And it's just going back to what they played in like 80. What was it? 84?
I don't know.
What was the Super matchup? I think it was the first Super Bowl. I got to look that up.
Yeah, I
think they played in the.
Yeah, it'd be pretty good though. I'm kind of joking on that, but yeah, I think Christian McCaffrey has played outstanding football this year and worthy of winning the MVP, if not for some of his teammates. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that whole thing plays out.
Yeah, they played in 85, Frank.
Okay.
They played in 85. And you want to know the score of that game?
Sure.
All right, hold on. You want to take a guess? You probably won't get it right. You probably remember this game.
35-24?
38-16.
Okay. All right.
38-16.
Now, how do you pronounce it? Mostert? Mostert will probably still be a 40. Yeah, Mostert would probably still be a 49er if he didn't get hurt all the time. Yeah, I mean, I got to give the guy credit just for coming back, and all the coaches for realizing that when this guy is healthy, he's worthy of being on our team. Because injuries are not something that you can really account for. Players get hurt. Some get hurt more than others. But coming back time and time again, to me, speaks volumes about his ability and about his character. And I'm happy that he is in Miami now as a complimentary back. Even with these gaudy numbers, you got Achane and some other guys out down there that are playing good football. So good for him. Vicky said Super Bowl here in Palo Alto, 49ers, Miami.
Yeah, I think it was in Sanford Stadium. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there you go.
Let me ask you a question, Frank. I heard some people are a little concerned about the 49ers defense. Now, are you taking that into account where you don't have your starting two defensive tackles, Armstead and Hargrave? Or are you saying, hey, this defense is concerning? Like Kinlaw and who's the other guy who played the rookie? Was it T.Y. McGill or I can't remember his name. Yeah. But the other defensive tackle. Some people are
concerned. Gary, got many of them.
Kevin Givens. Sorry, yeah.
I think that they're as good as any team in the NFL. And I also think that, I don't like to say it, but there appears to be more heat on their defensive coordinator, Steve Wilkes, than there should be. I mean, fans are just so meticulous. And yes, they've been good every year. But when you look at them aesthetically, they're in the same neighborhood as all of the other great 49er defenses. He made one bad call against the Vikings this year. He blitzed when he should have laid back at halftime. And, he got sent to the principal's office. And now you got to leave your little office and you got to come down so we can keep an eye on you. It's like, really, folks? Really?
If Mooney Ward would have made that pick, he would have still been up in his booth. Let's just be honest. He would have still been up in his booth, and they would have only lost 2 games.
Right.
The one.
So, it gets kind of ridiculous for me. And even just like you mentioned the guy, Kinlaw, there was conversations about whether or not he would even make the team. And Kinlaw has played good football this year to the extent that if the 49ers didn't sign him next year, he's going to go somewhere and make some money next year.
Yeah.
He is.
He's produced more than Solomon Thomas. He has. Yes. They've taken the draft pressure off him. Being a first round draft pick and just taking all that pressure off him. It's like, hey, you're going to lay back. You're going to be a second string guy. You're going to get your reps still, but I want you to go 100%. And it just seems like a weight just taken off his shoulders. He's playing great football. He really is.
He really is.
He's not getting pushed back, and he's just staying low.
Vicky says they played their best defensive game against Philadelphia. I would agree. I
don't know.
What do you think they played better against who?
The Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys.
I think that game kind of got away from Dallas, and I think that Dallas couldn't necessarily. I mean, I guess my criteria for playing really good defense is putting pressure on the quarterback. I equate everything to putting pressure on the quarterback, and maybe that's a narrow criteria, but Jalen Hurts wasn't able to do the things that he likes to do, so that's why I would probably lean with Vicky. And I start to lose my memory after a while. So as good as they were against Dallas, unless I'm looking at the tape, I don't remember as much.
let me jog you and Vicky's memory. Eagles scored 19 points, right? Mm-hmm. Dallas only scored 10. Dallas scored 10 points on Sunday Night Football. They were 4 for 11 on third downs. They had 197 total yards.
Yeah, I remember the game. I remember the game.
That defense was dominant. I'm just saying, don't overlook Dallas.
No, they played well against
Dallas. They only let them 57 rushing yards, Frank. 57. Come on. I think their best performance in my mind was Dallas. Not to say Eagles weren't great. It was a great performance.
Well,
but I think they're going to have that. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that I learned something about the Baltimore game. I didn't realize they were playing in Palo Alto. Well, not Palo, Millbrae or wherever they played over there. Santa Clara County, right. So that's going to be interesting. And I would probably give the 49ers an edge just because it's less likely that they're going to experience inclement weather. Baltimore generally plays pretty good in bad weather.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 59 and raining.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what it said on the weather forecast. Let me see this Sunday. Yeah, it's supposed to be. Well, ESPN showed it was going to be raining. Sunday showed it's going to be 40 and sunny.
Okay. Well,
so it's going to be cold. It's definitely going to be cold.
Yeah, I don't think cold weather really bothers football players that much. I think sloppy fields and rain, wind, things things like that really, can stymie good offensive teams and limit what they can do. I'm also a little concerned about the 49ers special teams game. Star rookie that we like, who's had a good year, but he's dropped the ball multiple times. And the fact that the fact that his elbow was down or his knee or whatever it was, that doesn't really get him off the hook, because it could have very well been a fumble and a touchdown by Arizona. So I'm concerned about it. Right. I'm really concerned.
Look, I am not a big fan of rookie punt returners. If there was any Achilles heel for this team, it's got to be a rookie punt returner in Ronnie Bell. It has. I really hope he doesn't have a situation in the playoffs where it's a tie game or they're up by 1 and he gets a ball, he gets a punt, and he tries to make a move and he muffs it or he gets it stripped and a team returns it for a touchdown for a big swing. And that's my biggest concern right now with the 49ers. If you want to talk about concern, that should be anybody's biggest concern.
It's something that is in the minds of people who want to see the 49ers win a chip, no doubt. They were great against the Cowboys, but the Philadelphia game was great all around. All right. Okay. So I think we hit on the 49ers. I mean, can you imagine how many 49er post-game shows there are in the world talking about what we just talked about? Somebody's going to break the Guinness Book of World Records, because just a stampede of 49er wrap-up shows. Did you see the third step that McCaffrey did when he went into the middle and he jumped over the lineman? Oh my God, I've never seen that before. Yeah. Blame the 49ers for being so damn good. But I just want to see a really, really competitive football games as we move down the stretch. Now, let me say this. They play the Rams one more time, right?
Yeah. We play the Rams one more time. I want to say the last week of the season.
That could be a sneaky good game.
You can minus sneaky. That's going to be a good game.
Oh yeah.
Rams are 7-7, but Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan, when they get together, it's always fireworks, and it's always they're going to try to outduel each other. And the Rams are probably still going to try to play for something. And
Matthew Stafford is playing at an all-pro level.
And now you have Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp.
Yes, and Kyron Williams, running back of Notre Dame. Yeah. So Big B, the tight end, they're good. They're really good. So
I'm looking at it right now, Frank. They are trying to compete for a playoff spot. They are currently 7th. Yeah. They're 7th in the playoff spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a good game. And I think one of the things about Shanahan and John Lynch and Warner and Trent Williams and some of their veterans is that the 49ers generally don't get caught up in not taking every team seriously. That's one of the trademarks of this team, the veteran leadership and the professionalism that they embody. And I think other teams, not so much. And that's a problem. I think that's kind of I don't think Dallas took Buffalo lightly, but they didn't go in there with the intensity that I think they needed to win that game. So I think that's where the 49ers have a advantage of all the NFC teams. Before we transition and talk more about the Warriors, I just want to say this. I'm going to give you 3 names. It's not about wins to me. I'm watching sports a lot of times. It's really about development. I'm loving watching, well, not loving, but I'm having a great time watching the development of Jordan Love. I really am. Even when he makes mistakes, I mean, the sheer physical talent that this guy has, I didn't know that he had a package like that. He's been a lot of fun to watch. Justin Fields has been fun to watch for me. You know, I
think they beat Cleveland today?
No.
Did they win against Cleveland?
No, they lost in overtime.
That game.
But Justin Fields makes 3, 4, 5 wild plays every game, you know, to make you think that, yo, this guy could actually be a good quarterback. And I'll die on this hill with Bryce Young. I am such a big Bryce Young fan. And I'm going to say this. I don't know any quarterback who's ever played this game that could have gone through the mental turmoil on the field that he has gone through this year and still did not blink one time. Has not blinked. Did not blink. So I salute that guy. I really do. And then to go out and beat the Falcons when they needed to win that game. They don't even have a first-round pick. Chicago has their pick already. So it doesn't even matter. You know how many players would have clocked out mentally, but not Bryce. So, you know, those are 3 guys I really enjoy watching. Huh?
What about CJ Stroud?
I mean, he's got a lot of hype already. You know, and I actually think that he was set up a lot better than Bryce Young. I mean, this just in. He's played well. I'm happy he's playing well. But whenever I see CJ Stroud playing quarterback, I see big Larry Tunsil in front of him. I see a clean pocket. And I see him, you know, I mean, he's played well. But I generally root for the underdogs. And CJ probably didn't have the rep that Bryce had, but he was set up a lot better than Bryce Young was this year. What are your feelings about some of the guys I've named?
Look, I was able to watch Jordan Love at Utah State. I went to Nevada for college, and I was able to see him. Okay. I was like, okay, this guy, he torched us. He really did when I saw him. He was like, he might have some skill. I didn't think he was going to get drafted, but I was like, okay, he might be able to walk on, but he definitely is going through some growing pains, just like every young quarterback. I mean, he's going to experience some highs and lows, but I really like his potential. Like you said, he makes some good plays, makes some boneheaded plays, though.
Right.
I mean, every young quarterback. I told Bayer Ballers this, Eric, I'm not a big fan of Bryce Young. I really just not. I think he's too small. I don't think he has the arm accuracy, and I don't think he has the arm strength. I really don't. But hey, I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. Third guy you said. Who's the third guy?
Justin Fields.
Justin Fields. I wanted, flat out honesty, I wanted Kyle Shanahan to draft Justin Fields over Trey Lance. I was like, this guy has everything. He's performed in the big games. Then once I saw him, I was like, I'm not sure he's as accurate as everybody says he is. Because you can be accurate in college, right? When everybody's running wide open.
Right.
When you got a guy right on your hip, like it's hard to be accurate. I just think he needs to work on his accuracy because he's got the athleticism. He makes so many highlight plays. Do you remember his first game against the Niners?
Yeah, I do.
I think he made this crazy 4th and 10 play where he scrambled to the right, scrambled to the left, and threw like a dime to somebody. I was like, his arm strength, his ability to move the ball down the field is crazy.
I mean, it is. And
his accuracy needs to improve, and it's
improving so much.
Arm strength. You're right, but it needs to get better for him to make that next step. And what I want to see him do more is those touch patches, like the one we talked about earlier, like the touch pass to Deebo Samuel or the touch pass to Chris McCaffrey.
Yeah.
If he can make that, he can make that next jump, and that will be his way of saying, all right, I'm going to be in the conversation to potentially be an MVP candidate because he has all the tools if he wants to with his legs and his athleticism.
I tend to look at quarterbacks and I go, become legitimate first. MVPs. Yeah. The commentators get away with that stuff, but just become a guy that your team can believe in and you can win games with. Because I look at I'm a big Mike Tomlin guy. And when I look at Mitchell Trubisky and who is the starting quarterback from Pitt?
I know who you're talking about. Kenny
Pickett. I mean, man, come on, man. Come on, dude. God awful. Vicky says, why do the Warriors get up 20 and only win by 4? I know it's 2 wins in a row, but hold the lead. What happened to Moody's minutes? He hasn't done anything wrong. I'll die on the hill with Moody.
You know what Steve Kerr would tell you, Vicky? Steve Kerr would tell you it's math. He said this plenty of times. He said, if I'm going to give Moses Moody minutes, who am I taking minutes away from?
Yeah.
Are you taking minutes away from Brandon Podziemski? No. Are you taking minutes away from Kuminga? No. Are you taking minutes away from Chris Paul? No. It's math. And you know what? He's kind of right.
I don't have a problem with Kerr and Moody's minutes. I'm going to tell you why. He's going to him relatively early. I have a problem with guys not getting an opportunity to play. Moody and Kuminga are playing early. And I mean, Andrew Wiggins had it going tonight. So Jonathan Kuminga didn't get in late. I actually have no problem with Kerr's coaching tonight. I thought his coaching was pretty darn good. And Portland is a very talented team. They don't have a identity. It is pathetic for them not to come out and be one of the hardest playing teams in the NBA. OKC plays hard every night. You got to beat OKC. Portland playing the Warriors that don't have Draymond Green right now, coming off a back-to-back with those veterans, and you let the Warriors come in the first half and run you off the court, that's unacceptable as far as I'm concerned. But the Warriors knew what they needed to do, and they needed that 20-point lead to hold on. But it's interesting, though. Tonight's game was a game that the Warriors would have lost last year. But when the Warriors...
They would have lost last week. They would have lost last week, Frank. Not last year, last week.
Well, I don't remember against the team. But my point is this. They played 2 or 3 minutes of phenomenal defense to get themselves reorganized. And then they made a couple of shots. Let's not underestimate this win. This is a big-time win tonight. It really was.
Yeah. It gets them back to the gravitational pull of trying to get to 500. You win 2 games in a row. They got Boston next. That's going to be a really interesting game on Tuesday. I really think that Boston's playing really well. But you know what? If the Warriors, they're going to need a Steph and Clay game like they had a night ago against Brooklyn. They're going to need Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and either Andrew Wiggins to have a game like he did tonight. I mean, look at Andrew's line. 29 minutes, 9 for 12, 4 for 6 from 3, 25 points and 7 rebounds.
This is his best game since. Ironically, this is his best game since he played against Boston in the championship.
Yeah, no, exactly, and that's
he was on one tonight.
That's the type of player they're going to need if they want to get back to 500 and they want to get back to the playoffs. They really do. And Vicky says Looney. I'm thinking, you know what, Vicky? You can't take out Looney and put Moody in because you have no height, you have no depth in the big man's position.
Well, Trace Jackson Davis got Looney's minutes tonight, and he played great. And he played great. It's interesting. I don't know if you remember, but I put out a tweet on X and I said, listen, I mean, because somebody was saying, why doesn't Trace Jackson Davis play? No, it was Zeta, their announcer, post-game show person. And
former Santa Cruz sideline reporter.
Yeah, and she's pretty positive, and we know why, because she has to be positive. I would be positive, and that sometimes skews your objectivity. But the reality is, no. This is what it was. I was answering a fan's response to John Dickinson. And John Dickinson said something to the effect like, well, at least the fans are happy because Trace Jackson Davis is getting on the court now. And I mean, I've watched this guy for 5 or 6 games fumble passes, fumble rebounds, and I'm like, this is not the same guy I saw in Indiana. I said if he cannot play better than he's playing now, he should be in the G League. He should not be taking. And he came out tonight, and I'm sure Kerr and those guys told him, say, yo, dude, we love you. Let's establish that. But if you don't start playing better, you're gonna be interested in some Santa Cruz real estate, right? And he came out tonight and played his tail off. It was beautiful to watch.
He did, and he got so many. I saw probably like 3 or 4 easy looks from him, by Chris Paul rolling to the basket, catching 2 or 3 lobs, getting that gravitational pull from Steph Curry and getting an easy basket. That's what his game is right now, and that's how he's going to be a successful rookie. He's going to play hard defense. He's going to run down the floor, try to beat his man, and try to get easy layups, easy lobs, run that pick and roll, because Chris Paul loves to run that pick and roll and have the lob. Yeah. Steph
gave him one too. Steph gave him one. Yeah. Steph gave him a nice one. So I was just happy to see him understand the assignment and then go out there and play his tail off and give Steve Kerr a reason to put him in the game. So I'll be interested to see how he plays on Tuesday against Boston, which kind of feels like more of a Saric game, because Porzingis, as good as he is, he's not really a guy who's going to command a lot of attention on the inside. So the Warriors got to play a really good, complete basketball game, but they generally shine when the lights are brightest. So it'll be interesting to see how they do against Boston, because Boston is a really, really talented team.
I have a feeling we're going to say at the end of that game, man, they really could have used Draymond Green tonight. They really could have used Draymond Green tonight.
Right.
And Frank, I don't want to say I told you so, but we got to get into it. Indefinitely? Frank,
no,
what does that even mean?
It means don't think about the number of games. That's what it means.
Okay, that's what it means. Frank, he's gonna miss more than 10 games. He's gonna miss more than 10 games.
Listen. Initially, I thought, but then Andrew Wojnarowski came out and said that he might be back on January, whatever, which would be 9 games. So, I was happy that they did indefinite, because it took the emphasis off the number of games. And, that's really all I really care about. I want you to go to Suzy Cakes. All right. I want you to experience that wonderful world of tasteful joy. So I'm not concerned about that. I'm concerned about this guy's life and his career, and whether or not he understands what's happening in the room. This is bigger than Draymond. This is bigger than how many games. This is really about a inflection point in his career. So that's what I'm concerned about. If it's 9 games, if it's 10, 12, it's hard as hell to definitively give a number of games for what Draymond did without being cognizant of whether or not you're really trying to help the guy. Because that's the most important thing to me. So, we'll see. If it's more than 10, then it's more than 10. I don't care about going to bed. What are you eating, a steak or something?
My computer. No, my computer's kind of messing up. Hold on.
It's all good, man. Don't even trip off of that, man. Yeah. All right. We'll get him back. Talking about the Warriors' 118-114 win over the Portland Trailblazers, a game that both teams needed to win. And leave it up to Chris Paul to make the defining shot to secure the victory, and Brandon Podzinski, to make another heady defensive play to bring the victory home. I'm concerned about Chauncey Billups. I really am, because this team should be playing better, especially at home. To think that they can lose 2 home games in a row, if people are going to start asking questions about Chauncey, and that disappoints me, because I think that over a long period of time, he could be a quality head coach in the NBA. But the reality is you got to win games. Glendocious says, I'm not convinced Clay can keep up this level of play for the rest of the year. What would be the ideal trade for the Warriors? They're not trading Clay. No way. They're not trading him. There's a possibility that Trey might not re-sign. I can see that happening. But I mean, they're not going to trade Klay Thompson. They're not. In a different world, I think Philly would love Klay. You know, I think Philly would love him because he could just kind of stand outside and shoot wing jumpers when Embiid was inside. The Warriors could probably get Tobias Harris back and maybe something else. You know, they both make a lot of money. Klay Thompson to Philly for Tobias Harris, something like that. Maybe Chicago will be interested just because they could probably use him in some type of three-way deal to get Zach LaVine out of there. But Klay's going to have a statue out in front of the Chase Center. So he's not going anywhere. And Glendocious, I would disagree with you. I think with Klay, it's about shot selection. It's about quality of shots. And it's interesting because in Klay's post-game interview, he actually took some responsibility for some of the poor shots that he took. And there have been times in which Klay would have never done that. You know, no, I just got to get it back. You know, those shots felt good. Klay, you had three guys hating on you from three-point range. But tonight, he didn't do that. He was more accountable. He was ace, man. Klay Thompson and Andrew Wiggins, the two guys who have been much maligned throughout the year, came up big for the Warriors, and I was happy to see that. Stephen Curry's 268 three-point. Stephen Curry's 268 game streak of making at least one three-pointer ended tonight, and I say, who cares? You know, doesn't matter. This is big boy basketball. He'll start another record. To think that cumulatively, it took 7 or 8 guys with the highest streaks to even equal him is amazing. Dame Lillard was the only guy who had triple digits. He made a three-pointer for 101 consecutive games. And Stephen had 2.5 times more than that. So big him up. He only had 7 points. I actually was a little concerned tonight after his Broadway-esque performance last night against Brooklyn. He had 37 points. I thought that he might be a little tired. And Chauncey Billups came out with a game plan that was equal to some of the teams that have had some success against the Warriors, against the Clippers. The Clippers have actually put the tape out there that if you're going to beat the Warriors, don't let Steph beat you. Just dog him just dog Stephen all over the court, and regardless if Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, whomever goes off, you're still going to win if you don't let Stephen beat you. And that almost worked tonight. But thanks to the exploits of Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, the mindfulness of Brandon Podzinski, and just the veteran leadership of Chris Paul, the Warriors were able to get out of there with a victory. So I think Chauncey had a pretty good game plan to stop Stephen, but some of the other guys got away from him. Vicky says Steph left it all on the court last night. He did. Absolutely. And Brooklyn was a team that could match the Warriors from a talent perspective. So before you can win 2 in a row, they needed to win 1. And they did a great job winning that game last night. So So Tuesday should be interesting. The mighty Boston Celtics will be coming to town, and it's going to be a tough game for the Warriors. Something unusual will have to happen, something heroic. But we've seen those types of efforts take place at Chase and certainly at Oracle when they were in Oakland. I want to spend a minute or two talking about something that warms my heart. That's not really on the radar, but I want to talk about it. Okay, we got
my
Brian
bad, Frank.
It's all good, Brian.
My bad.
We just kind of wrapping up the Warriors, and I'm going to talk about something now that warms my heart. A couple of days ago, I think it was Carmichael Dave from KCK or somebody had said something about the team. And I wrote a tweet on X about Juan Toscano Anderson. You know I love Juan.
Did he get signed?
He got signed by the Kings. Now, I had an opportunity to coach Juan for multiple years.
Wow.
And Juan, salt of the earth type of individual. Great teammate. Been through some things. Grew up in one of the toughest parts of Oakland. Phenomenal
Valley,
team.
right?
No. He went to San Leandro. No, he went to San Leandro High School.
He went to Castro Valley.
No, you're right.
He went to Castro Valley.
Yeah, he did go to Castro Valley, but he lived in Oakland. All right, and the Warriors organization loved him, and I thought that based off how their team was constructed, they would sign him. And I wrote something to the effect that, listen, if you need energy, toughness, and character, this guy needs to be signed. And then I wrote like the beam or something. And I think Juan might have said like the effing beam then or something like that. I don't know if it was his Twitter.
Okay.
Maybe he didn't curse. But the next day, the Kings signed this guy. And I'm just so happy for him. But from a basketball perspective, I think it's a good get for the Kings, and it's a loss for the Warriors. Because, see, you might not believe that. Warrior fans might not believe that. But how did the Warriors win tonight? Defense, energy, hustle plays. And I think that having that guy on your bench that you know you can depend on to do certain things is an asset for a coach. So, maybe I'm stretching a little bit, but I think he's going to make a play or two for Sacramento that's going to help that team this year.
I think if the Warriors didn't have Gary Payton II or they didn't trade for him, then, yeah, you could say Juan Toscano Anderson could play that role. But I just think they have too many players who they like more. Moses Moody, Gary Payton II, Jonathan Kuminga, Trace Jackson-Davis, even Brandon Podziemski, who fill that role of kind of that grind-out guy who's going to give you a good professional effort on defense. Maybe not the most skilled guy, but I just don't think there'll be any minutes for Juan Toscano Anderson. I'm happy for him in Sacramento, and I think he's going to do well for Mike Brown. I really do.
Well, let me ask you this
credit
question.
Mike Brown.
Well, again, good for the Kings. But let me ask you this question. They signed the guy from Mexico, what's his name, to a full guarantee contract.
Keith Santos.
Right. Where is he? In the G League right now? Something? Where's he?
I think he's
on the bench?
Yeah. No, he's in Santa Cruz, but I think right now either one of those guys, Juan Toscano Anderson or Keith Santos, wouldn't have been able to crack this rotation. I think they would have been the 14th or 15th guy off the bench.
Yeah. All right, but here's the deal. Yeah, but here's the deal. Injuries happen. I'm not talking about cracking the rotation. I'm talking about having somebody that I can go to when I need them at a crucial time in the season that I know I don't have to worry about in my organization. He's the soul of the earth, great character. Professionalism. Yo, listen, nobody has to tell me that Corey Joseph is a pretty good guy. Never met him, but you don't have to tell me that Corey Joseph has a good reputation in the NBA. Dude has played 13 years in the NBA. Are you kidding me? Those are the guys that you want in your organization. And like you said, Juan signing with Sacramento is like Juan signing with the Warriors. It doesn't really matter. I'm just happy that he's in the league. It's his 4th or 5th year. But I do think that he brings something to the table, even if it's just like psychological. Because I think mentally, when the Warriors have played Sacramento, they've had a mental edge over Sacramento just off mental toughness. Juan is not the type of player who's going to be afraid on the basketball court.
No, you're exactly right. I just, in terms of sheer basketball numbers-wise, like I just don't see him being able to crack the rotation or get to any minutes on this team. He's going to be able to do that on Sacramento, I truly believe, but not on this Warriors team. He might not even be able to crack the rotation in Sacramento, but hey, you're right. Injuries happen. Anything can happen.
Yeah, he's not going to crack I don't think he's going to crack the rotation, but I think he will be a piece that Mike Brown will go to at opportune times when he's like, oh, we don't have any energy right now. I need to go get Juan. Yo, Juan, go get such and such because he's in a funk right now. I might only need you for 8 minutes, 9 minutes tonight, but go give me that, and crazy asset. You know what I'm saying? Like, even like with Brandon Podzinski, yo, man, I am so happy for this guy.
We got a lot of minutes tonight, Frank.
Yeah,
he's it's crazy.
Listen, but here's the thing about him. First of all, let me get Vicky in here. She got a couple of comments, and I'm not gonna lose my point. Vicky says CP3 has to stop taking 3-pointers. They're not going in. Well, he had a stretch in which he was making some shots. He's been off the last couple of games, but I don't have a problem with him shooting. Do you think that the Warriors miss Andrew Iguodala? No, I don't. I don't think they do.
He's a career 36-point 3-point shooter, so he's gonna get back. A lot of averages will even out.
Not as a player, but as a coach. Intellectually, I'm never going to say that the Warriors couldn't use an Andrew Iguodala. But do they miss him as a basketball player? I don't really think so. Let me make my point about Brandon Podzinski. Because he's so smart, he's able to take advantage of players who are not smart. And as a result, his numbers look really, really good. The Warriors are going to run into a stretch when Brandon is playing against players who match or exceed his physical ability, and they're also smart. So I want to see how he plays against those players because I had to figure it out. I said, well, why the hell is this guy playing so damn well? And it's because the guys who he's matching up against, he's smarter than, he has a higher IQ. So, as he plays against the best guards in the NBA, I want to see how he does.
My first thing when I saw Brandon Podzinski in the lineup, I was thinking, who is this more for? Is this more for Brandon Podzinski or is it more for Klay Thompson? Because his last 3 games, ever since Brandon Podzinski was inserted in the starting lineup, Klay Thompson scored 30 points, 28 points, and 25 points. And just look at his line. He had, 20, let me see. Hold on one second. 24 points against the Nets, 30 points against the Clippers, and 28 tonight. He does stuff so... The way he drives to the basket and attacks with such aggressiveness, he just gets Klay wide open shots. And Klay moves without the ball really well without him.
No, he does. He does. But again, I had to figure it out. I had to think real hard about it. And I think the conclusion that I've drawn kind of makes some sense. I'm not saying that, he's played his ass off, but I want to see him against really good players. So then I can kind of figure it out even more what his arc is. But he's been invaluable to the Warriors. What is he worth? 4 wins this year? The Warriors might have 8 wins or something like that.
Look,
go ahead.
He's not going to score 50 points against an elite guard. We saw him against Kawhi Leonard. He was getting ripped up all night versus James Harden. He was getting isolated on defense. But I don't think he's there to score. He's there to get Klay Thompson and other guys better looks than Andrew Wiggins and Draymond Green.
They made a great point. But I mean, but these other teams have really good coaches and good scouts as well.
Yeah.
If he has like, for instance, Boston's not only one of the best offensive teams in the NBA, they're one of the best defensive teams in the NBA.
Yeah.
So what you and I are talking about now, they're talking about. And it's a mistake when one of their players are out of position. You should not be out of position. You should not be allowing Brandon Podziemski to drive to his left. Are you kidding me? Lay back, put your hand up, make him shoot a wide open, a contested 3-point shot. So my point is, some of these teams that the Warriors are playing against, and some of the players that he's playing against and embarrassing, you would think that they're not like listening to film study or something, or not really reading the scouting report, because he eats guys up like that. If you're not a student of the game, Brandon Podziemski will eat you alive. And he's been doing that.
I'm just looking at Klay Thompson's first game or last game without Brandon Podziemski in the lineup. 2 for 10, 7 points against the Suns. Now he goes 9 for 15 from the field against the Clippers. He goes, let me check really quick, 7 for 19 from the field. And tonight he scored 28 points, going, 11 for 16 from the field.
Well, let me ask you a question.
That subtle change between Brandon Podziemski and Andrew Wiggins now in the starting lineup seems to open everything up.
It definitely helps. But let me say this, though. And this is where I don't lean on stats as much as you and maybe some other people do.
Yeah, I'm just saying what I thought. Yeah.
No. It's true. But here's the deal. If Steph Curry doesn't have a Steph Curry moment last night, the stats are still the stats. The Warriors don't win. Yeah. The Warriors won that game because Steph Curry was like, you know what? It's Saturday night in the Bay. We ain't losing. And we're gonna beat a team that has a winning record. So my point is, I respect stats. What you're saying is a beautiful thesis. But when we get down to brass tacks, it's about the players. And Brandon's play has aided and put Klay in a position to be successful. But you know, those other factors that I'm talking about, to me, matter a little bit more.
I think it matters the same. Honestly, okay. We can agree to disagree, but I think if you look at his play, there's a reason Steve Kerr put him in the starting lineup over Corey Joseph or over Chris Paul. There's a reason that, hey, like you said with JTA, this kid produces energy, it produces life, and it produces like a youthful exuberance that
nobody can argue
they
against
didn't have.
Nobody can argue against that point. Do you think Wiggins is coming off the bench for the rest of the year? It appears to be helping. I don't care. I don't care. I mean, you know, if he's so fixated on I want to be a starter, and Kerr goes go out and start and he plays like crap, then I'm like, dude, you can't handle the responsibility of being an NBA starter. If you're going to come off the bench and all of a sudden maybe challenge for the Sixth Man of the Year award, and that constitutes the Warriors winning X amount of games, then come off the bench and finish games like you did tonight. I don't care. I want you to go out there and ball out the way you did tonight.
Look, if he plays like he did tonight and he forces Steve Kerr's hand, then he's going to have to start. He's just going to have to. But right now, that's the only way I see him starting, if he forces Steve Kerr's hand. And the only way he does, if he's going to play like he does tonight and back in the finals, where he was just a monster on the boards, where he was super efficient from the field, and he was just locking down defenders. He was their best defender tonight. He really was.
He looked like
it showed.
He looked like Kawhi Light tonight. I mean, in the half court, dude was dealing. What he shot from the? I mean, what he shot, like 9 for 12 or something?
Yeah, 9 for 12, 4
25
for 6
points.
From the field, 25 points, 7 boards. That's the key thing with Wiggins, I think. If he's rebounding,
alley-oop dunks. He was even like scoring around the basket. I'm like, whoa, who is this guy?
Now, some people could say it's Portland. They're not a great team. But I'm thinking, hey, if he's doing this right now, then what's the next game going to be like? I just want to see him build that consistent game after game to get his confidence back, because we've seen it inside him in the biggest stages. There has to be inside him. It has to be.
Let me say this. Let me say this then. The Warriors are going to win Tuesday night. I'm going to say that. I'm going to say the Warriors are going to win Tuesday. Well, this is why.
Okay.
I can't remember the Warriors getting blowed out by anybody. I'm talking like the tar coming off their sneakers. The Clippers handled them the last game, but I can't remember the Warriors getting blowed out by anybody. The Warriors have played more clutch games than anybody in the NBA.
25, I think, right?
Yes. And they are the type of team that rises to the occasion, especially when it matters most. When those emotional moments happen, the Warriors rise to the occasion. And I just think they are on Tuesday night, because think about it. That has to be the hottest ticket in the NBA Tuesday night.
It might be. Clippers are 20-5, dude. 20-5. I'm not going to give them a chance. They're good, but
they're real good.
The Warriors have to play a lot better than they did tonight if they want a chance. I mean, Steph Curry, 2 for 12 tonight. 2 for 12. He couldn't hit the backside of a barn.
So what?
He couldn't.
What?
I know, so what? He's going to have to play a lot better, though, Frank. You know.
I mean, but hold on. The Warriors are 12. Hold on. The Warriors are 12-14. Stephen Curry's had like 3 subpar games. He's averaging damn near 30 games. You take the worst game he's played all season and you go, he's got to play better? I mean, come on, man.
He's going to have to play a lot better than tonight if they want to win.
No,
he can't
know what
score
you did?
7 points.
Know what you did, Brian? You tried to skip Baylor's speed, man.
No, I don't.
Yes, you did. You just went skip, dude. You just went skip. That's a classic Skip Bayless move right there.
He's gonna have to.
I'm joking with you, by the way. You know that. I'm joking.
I know. I'm just saying he's gonna have to score more than 7 points tonight if they want to beat the Boston Celtics.
Skip Bayless would have been like, remember in 1987 when Dave DeBusschere had came out and he was 0 for 9 from the field and he had 3 points and the Knicks lost? I'm joking.
No, I know.
The Warriors are not going to do anything without Stephen Curry, but he's 35. He had maybe his best game of the year last night. He had to get on a plane. His heart didn't get any bigger. His blood didn't flow any smoother. Dude was tired. Even at the end of the game, when he has impeccable concentration, he misses a free throw. You know why? He was tired. So, you're right, but I think he will. He always plays well against the best teams.
I'm just saying he's going to have to, because if he doesn't, they're not beating the Celtics. They need everybody.
Yes, they do. Okay, I agree again.
He was tired.
He was tired, man.
Then he should have said, I don't want to play 31 minutes tonight against
Portland
team who we could have. He should have said so.
He could have said so. If he don't play, they lose.
Look, that's an excuse. He was tired. He should have.
That's an excuse. He was tired. Come on.
I just truly think that's an excuse.
You think players are robots? They're not robots.
No, I don't think players are robots. I don't. But it's December, Frank. You shouldn't be tired in December.
He's 35.
Okay, so what? He said he feels great. He does.
What do you think? What do you think he's going to say? Come on. Frank, he's Stephen Curry.
Frank, I'm not saying he's not great. I'm not saying he's not a machine. He's human. I understand all of it. But he would tell you, nah, man, I'm not.
Look at what Vicky said. Steph is not a machine.
I know he's not a machine. I know. But you know what? You said they're going to beat Boston. He's going to have to play a lot better than he did tonight.
That's true. Okay. That's a fair statement. That's a fair statement.
And I think he will. I think he will, because he always gets up to the games.
Yes.
He always does.
That's a fair statement. I'm just like, I mean, it's not surprising that he didn't play well tonight. Is it surprising that he didn't play a decent game? Yeah. But I'm not surprised, especially when I saw Chauncey Billups' game plan when he put Kamara, somebody 6'8", 6'9" on him, and you could tell that Chauncey Billups told him, dude, don't worry about anybody else on the Warriors. I want you to face guard Stephen Curry all over the court. When he made that decision, I was like, tonight could be a tough night because the screens at that point don't matter. And luckily, Clay and Wiggins had one of their better games of the year, and the team overall played well. They were up as many as 20 points. But I wasn't surprised that Stephen didn't play well because, he's not a robot. He's tired. So
all I'm worried about is Drew Holiday just being like, hey, I got Steph tonight. No one is going to guard Steph but me. I'm going to shadow him. That's all I'm worried about. If Drew Holiday face guards him up and down the court, I really think that he's gonna have trouble. I really do.
I think Tuesday could be a Kuminga game, and I'm gonna tell you why. Boston, unlike last year, they don't have any rim protection. They might say Porzingis. I don't buy that. I don't think Boston generally outscores teams that are not as potent as they are offensively, and not as smart as they are. In the Western Conference, there are more teams that have offensive power. And Boston's generally not playing those teams as much as they're playing East Coast teams, the Miamis of the world, the New York Knicks of the world, the Brooklyns of the world, the Charlottes, the Chicagos, teams that play half-court basketball. When they come out Tuesday, they're going to have to play a really, really good game. I think that the Warriors have the ball handling and the point guard play to match with them. Maybe as a basketball fan, I just want to see a really good game. But I think stylistically, this is not the type of team that Boston generally likes to play. Let's get Vicky in here. Vicky says, I hate back-to-back games. It's not fair to the players. Yeah.
That's just the NBA, Vicky.
Yeah,
That's just the NBA.
It's going to be a moody game, she says. Okay, we'll see. Gundosha says, they're not winning on Tuesday without Draymond. I just think we need to target some kind of big man in a trade market. Gundosha, you got to give us a name, dude. I agree with you, but give me a name. Give me somebody.
I think Tuesday is going to be a big Klay Thompson game. I really do. He's hot. He seems to be. He always starts slow during the beginning of the season. We all know this. For the last 5 seasons, he started slow, but he seems like he's coming on. And I could see a big Klay Thompson game, back home, TNT. He wants to show everybody that I'm back. There's something in the back of his mind saying, all right, I want to show Charles Barkley that his words about me being done and over are completely false. And I want to show everybody that I can still be the player that I can be, or I was back then in my championship run. I really think it's going to be a Klay Thompson.
I would love to see that. And I've said it before. Sometimes I hear like sports talk shows or I'm on shows and people are first of all, this championship or bust proposition is absurd. It is one of the most ridiculous things that I've ever heard, especially when you watch basketball and you know how good this freaking league is. All right. So for somebody to say, well, the Warriors dynasty is done, it's a year-to-year proposition. They stole the championship from Boston 2 years ago. All right. That dynasty was supposedly gone. So, I don't like to hear unintelligent thoughts about basketball and sports in general. It's ridiculous.
That's just to get clickbait, and that talk is just to get ratings and stuff. Like, those people who are truly objective about sports know that there's only one winner and know how hard it is to do it every single year. And I hate disparaging championships. It's like, oh, you can say the Warriors stole that championship. No, they earned it because they played better than Boston in a 7-game series. Flat out, they played better than Boston. You could say Boston was a better team. You could say Boston was a more athletic team. The Warriors won that series, and they played better. They just did. I'm sorry.
Listen, I stole a couple of games when I was coaching in Boston against a private school. So what? It doesn't matter. My point is the facts are. I mean, for anybody who's willing to say unequivocally that this Warrior team can't compete and they're going to somehow fall off the wagon, it's absurd. Most of the time, there's people who've never coached before. I mean, and coaching. Listen, coaching is 3 times as hard as playing. I honestly, it's 3 times as, because here's the deal. No disrespect. If Steve Kerr was coaching Portland, they might be 14-12 or 12-14. They wouldn't look like they look right now. Now, sometimes it takes longer. They have enough pieces. They don't have an identity. They don't really have a style. And I'm not just pinpointing them. My point is coaching matters at every level. This is not a bad team. You look at what Jacques Vaughn is doing with Brooklyn. Jacques Vaughn is getting a lot out of these guys. They could very easily be sub 500. But they play competitive basketball every night. The Warriors play competitive basketball every night. And everybody's trying to bury them. You can't bury this team.
It looks like Portland just plays like a brand of AAU basketball. It really does. It doesn't look like they play like an organized system style basketball where they're just trying to break everybody down off the dribble. They really are. And I kind of got bored watching it. And I was like, oh my God. Another isolation. Great.
DeAndre Ayton was invisible tonight. This is a number 1 overall pick. He was invisible.
I think he's going to get traded at the deadline. He's wasting his talents in Portland. He really is. I mean,
does the coaches have any responsibility to bring his talents out? Is the onus all on him to play well, or is it a collective effort?
I think it's both, but I just think he's in a bad spot. I really do. I think Portland isn't going to go anywhere, and he's probably dying to get the hell out of there. He really is.
I think he's in a great spot. He's starting, he's 7'1" or whatever the case. And I guess my overriding point is, you gotta play. You gotta play. You gotta be prepared correctly. It's like I don't need to see how many games Luka and Kyrie Irving play together to know something about Dallas. Only thing I need to know is Jason Kidd is coaching them. That's all I need to know. Because what I know is they're going to show up and play hard every night. Never discount that. Never discount that. The scheme styles are okay. Show up and play. And then we can talk about everything else.
That should be a given in the NBA, though.
But it's not.
I know it's not. I know we both know it's not, but that should be a given. You can pay to play basketball. You're in the National Basketball Association for a reason. You're the top 1% of your class, of your field. You should be playing hard every single night. I don't care. It doesn't happen. I know it doesn't, but you know what? That's no excuse. That is no excuse.
Okay, but hold on, though. The variables are you're supposed to do this, but if you don't do it, Brandon Staley, I'm held accountable and I'm fired. So it's not an equal playing field. So my point is, as a coach, you as a coach or whomever coaching whatever, it's incumbent upon you to make sure that your team is ready to play.
Yep.
Not they should do this. Yeah, they should do this. I should drink more water. Right? I should drink more bottled water. I don't drink enough. But if my coach says, listen, Frank, you're going to get paid, or we're going to have a water break. I'm going to watch you go over to the water fountain and drink water. I'm going to drink more water. So my point is, it's a collaborative effort. The players, the mature players, the Chris Pauls of the world, they're always going to be ready. But until they get to that point, if you want to keep your job and you want to survive, or if you have the capacity to do your job well, you're going to make sure everything gets done. And I'll just say this: Ime Udoka. He's a perfect example of that. He's coming to a whole different state, a whole different organization. And he very quickly has established the principles and the variables by which they are going to do business. And we see what happens on the basketball court in terms of effort and in terms of wins and losses. So
you talk a lot about coaching, and don't get me wrong, coaching is a major aspect in NBA. I think more NFL than NBA, like we saw with the NFL and Kyle Shanahan with Brock Purdy right now and getting him in the correct situations. But I truly think with basketball, it's players have to make the plays. Like, you can teach them to be in the correct position. Can you give an example
of how that works? Can you give me some examples of how that works in the NBA?
Steph Curry. Steph Curry
he's a player. I'm talking because he doesn't win games by himself. Give me an example of some teams in which you're just saying the onus is on the players to go out there and they get it done themselves. I mean, it's very.
I'm not saying totally get it done by themselves, but I'm saying players have to make plays. You can have the best. Look at Bill Belichick. Look at Greg Popovich. Greg Popovich is arguably the best basketball coach of this generation, right? You have arguably the best prospect, Victor Wembanyama. And what, they lose 19 in a row? He can put them in the best positions possible, but they're not producing. All I'm saying, players got to make plays, bro. You know it. I know it. Players got to make plays. They just do.
Okay, so let me say this, and we'll end with this. It is plausible that someone, I love Pop. I think Popovich, he's a Hall of Famer. But it is plausible that someone could have done a better job with the team that he's coaching right now. Possibly.
No, you're right.
And Monty Williams is a phenomenal basketball mind coach. But it is very plausible that the coach last year who they fired would have a better record than they have right now. So my point is, reputation will only take you so far because the game changes and philosophies changes, and there is no sweet sauce for whether or not players are going to listen to you or they're going to be inspired by you. So that's all I'm saying. Brian, it's been awesome, dude. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thanks for having me on again. I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming. I appreciate you. I'm going to do my thing, and I'm going to get out of here. And hopefully on Tuesday, we'll have a good game. Now, I know it's right on the board, but verbally sometimes it resonates a little better. What can people find you, hear your thoughts online, so on and so forth?
You can find me on Twitter or X @B_Ecclesia. Just follow me on Twitter right now. I'm not really doing anything like writing wise. I used to write for different publications.
That's all good. Let me ask you a question. Do you have like a favorite sport that you like to comment on, or is it just sports in general? What do you like to do?
Just football, basketball, a little bit of baseball here and there, just Bay Area sports, just NBA, MLB, NFL, just everything in general, honestly. The three major sports in my mind, I just feel like I have a good knowledge of all of them, honestly. Okay. And I just like to call them on all of them. So X is a place where they can find you most consistently. Mm-hmm. Are there other, Snapchat or any of these other things that's out there? Are you basically a next person? You like to do that? I'm pretty much a next person. I was thinking about doing a YouTube channel, but I'm thinking I don't got a lot of time sometimes. That takes a lot of time and effort, and you can probably just family most me on X.
All right. Well, thank you, brother. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you taking the time to jump in the dungeon tonight. I really enjoyed it. I know the listeners did as well. So I'll talk to you down the road. Peace out, brother.
I appreciate it, man. See you. Have a good night.
All right. Okay. I am Frank Red. What's up, everybody? This is In the Dungeon program. We've done an hour and 40 minutes. We covered the San Francisco 49ers victory over the Arizona Cardinals, 45-29. Brock Purdy threw for 4 touchdown passes. MVP candidate Christian McCaffrey had 115 yards and a touchdown, and Debo had a couple of touchdowns as well. So right now the 49ers maybe are the prohibitive favorite to win the Super Bowl. We will see. The Golden State Warriors won their second consecutive game, a gritty victory over a young and talented and inexperienced Portland Trailblazers team, 118-114, and sets up a real tough battle on Tuesday night. Their next opponent, the Boston Celtics, out at the Chase Center in San Francisco. We'll see how that one evolves. We'll probably do a show after that. I am going to do my thing before I get out of here. I want to thank you all first for checking me out tonight. If you don't subscribe to the show, subscribe if you like it in the Dungeon Show. The button is right there. And follow me on X. That is the only social media that I'm using right now. All right? I'm going to do my thing and get out of here. Success and getting paid is a manifestation of the whole process. If you're an individual, don't do things to help other people make their lives better. As far as I'm concerned, you haven't done nothing. I'm Frank Red. This is the In the Dungeon program. We'll talk to you probably on Tuesday night. Until then, peace.